state should not be supporting the arts directly at all. The question is, if people cannot get money for artistic products on a voluntary basis, why should they be able to take that money from other people by force through the taxation system?
The Pentonville Gallery just off Oxford Street is one of the casualties. Specialising in work by political artists, its exhibitions often cause controversy. Now it faces closure.
You know, how you know you're an artist? That's the main question. And you know, to know if an artist or not is like a breathing. You don't question breathing. You have to breathe, otherwise you just die, so you breathe. So if you wake up in the morning and you have some ideas and you have to make them, and this become like a kind of almost obsession, and you have to create, and you have this urge to create, you're definitely an artist.
We live in a world where equality is seen as a luxury. 68% of primary schools in England alone have seen decreases in their art provisions due to government cuts. And in 2019 alone, a further 50% of state schools in England seen a 10% decrease in young people taking arts as one of their GCSEs. So, with all of this going on, why aren't we speaking to young people? Why don't young people have a seat at the table? And why don't young people even know where that table is and who sits around it? Within this documentary, I'm going to be speaking to 3 phenomenal women from across the globe about their experiences of being under the age of 22 and navigating the arts and culture sector. If you're a person in power watching this documentary, I hope this inspires you to step up and listen to young people and act on what we are saying. And if you are a young person watching this documentary, I hope this inspires you to know that you can achieve whatever you want to, because our age is truly just a number. I just wanted to start by saying thank you for, of course, joining and agreeing to be interviewed. And I was wondering if you could explain a bit more about who you are, what you do, and like what you're passionate about.
Okay, so my name is Marwa Ashe, that's my birth name. But my stage name or pseudonym is Medulla, and my friends and family call me Lulu, so either is fine. I feel that they all kind of like encapsulate different parts of me, so like different personas. So Marwa Ashe would be like the poet in me. So I'm a wordsmith, but I do various types of writing. So I wouldn't want to class myself as a poet or a rapper, but yeah, I'd say Medulla represents that side of me. And then, Marwa Ashe represents that side of me. And then Medulla represents the rapping side. And then Lulu is just the activist. But also, like, I get wary about using the word activist because I'm like, I know that there's so many people that are like way more committed to causes than I am. So I don't know, I use it loosely, but I have a lot of things that I care about. For example, just Pan-Africanism and conversations around race and just how to empower people, and also just other marginalized communities such as like the LGBT community. I identify as bisexual, so that's something that like I would like to put at the forefront of a lot of my movements. What else? I sometimes make vlogs. I like to travel, so when I travel I make vlogs and just like to make an online portfolio for myself. So like my whole thing is, I feel like it's so important right now in like this digital age to just have like an online persona with like your skills and everything that you can do. So that's whenever I make blogs or vlogs or anything, I just always have that at the forefront of my mind, just trying to make a portfolio for myself. Yeah. And
I find that so interesting because I think when we think of the older generations, they were often told like, you have to have this one profession, this one job role, and you've just got to walk that path. So like start as an intern and then, you know, work your way up to being like a director. And I suppose with you, like, it's really interesting to see someone who is open to multiple avenues, but at the same time, and is pursuing not just one, but multiple different jobs.
Yeah, literally. And it's so interesting because, you know, like the phrase, like, jack of all trades, master of none.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if that's even, like, applicable nowadays, because obviously, fair enough, if you have too much on your plate, you can't concentrate on one thing. But I think it's important more than ever now to be multifaceted, because that's what companies are looking for. They're looking for, like, something that's dynamic, where you can you know, be ready to do any kind of task really. But like you said, with the older generation, it's difficult bridging that gap. Like my parents are literally constantly asking me, what are you doing? Like, or like and when I tell them, they don't really understand. And it's just that lack of support, because they're worried that there's not a one focus that I have. But actually it should be seen as like a pool of opportunity, I think, more so.
Yeah, definitely. And on that note, I was wondering if you think anything could be done more to essentially help the older generation, especially parents, understand young people / their children about the whole concept of like, it's okay to be a jack of all trades.
Yeah. Oh, I don't know. Oh my gosh, that's a hard question. I think it's going to happen naturally with time. I think it's just also giving them examples of people who are successful now, who maybe we do look up to, because all of that worry disappears once that person becomes successful. So it's like, if you show people examples of other artists or creatives that didn't actually have like a straight path, but then they still ended up at the destination that they wanted to be at, then I think maybe they'll be more open to it. Because I do think it is more so a case of they're just worried, because it's like, where are you going? But you don't actually need to know all the time. Like that can actually hinder you, can put you in boxes sometimes. But
yeah, definitely. I agree with that. And when I was speaking to the girl from the Philippines, we actually we both kind of had the similar experience of when we were about 17 years old, getting into paid commissions and getting into the arts. We both had our parents think that it was fraud, or think that like we were getting money from like random people and that it wasn't trustworthy. And I do think more conversations need to be had with elders about the fact that for us, the job market isn't the same. Like, you know, it's not as clean cut, and we do need a massive variety of skills to be able to excel and to thrive as people.
Yeah, literally, like it doesn't really make sense for us right now to close ourselves off so early, because even just the whole education system, it is kind of structured in a way that means that by the end of, I don't know, college, or at the beginning of college, you should know the exact profession that you want to be in. Or even sometimes the pressure's applied earlier, like at GCSE level. But then I do think, there just needs to be that kind of like education around it. But then it's hard as well, because it is a new concept. Like even just when you look at influencers or something, like a lot of people don't understand that, but it's a real market now. And it's like, a lot of people don't realize the work. It's an actual job. So I don't know. I guess it's just education around it.
100%. And like, if you essentially spoke to 11-year-old you and told her that like you were gonna go to Paris and do filmmaking and be an activist and essentially be so embedded within creativity, activism, and also academia, what do you think 11-year-old would say? Like, do you think she'd believe it?
I don't know if she would believe it. I think she'd just be very, I don't know, apprehensive. Like, I think if I was to know at 11 years old I'm going to do all of these things, I just feel like, oh, like, am I even capable? And even now, so like if I'm applying for a creative job, I'll look at an application and its requirements and I'll think, can I do that? Like, am I even capable of doing this? But I think that's also part of it, like just believing in your source at that time, at any given time period, just believing in the power that you have. So I guess 11-year-old me would definitely be overwhelmed, but then I would just tell her like, sis, you've got this. Like, when else are you gonna believe in yourself, you know?
Hey Sophia, how are you doing today?
I'm fine. I just got home from buying my stuffs like laptop, cell phone, and just a hobby, piano, for my art commissions.
Amazing. So can you explain a bit more about like what kind of art you do? and how you were started?
I usually scroll on Twitter, Reddit, and Facebook to find clients. I usually scroll 15 minutes interval for me to find clients. I usually draw character designs like that for the clients.
Amazing. And then how do you actually go about reaching out to the clients and like giving them ideas?
Oh, I just reach out. I will comment in their post and link my portfolio, and after that I will just wait if they are interested in commissioning me.
And something that I'm really interested in is obviously you're 17 years old,
Yes.
so a lot of people get into commissions when they're a little bit older, and that's kind of the stereotype of like an artist. So I was wondering, like, how did you essentially get the skill and the knowledge to know that that's how you get clients?
I just watch some videos on YouTube on how to price my art, but I usually price my art depend on the client's budget and how the piece they want.
Amazing. And then if you could give advice to another 17-year-old who wants to get paid from doing artwork, what advice might you give them?
Oh, for the advice, first, build a portfolio to showcase your art to your clients, to your possible clients. And second, be wise to communicate to your clients so that they understand you and their idea to become one, like that. And always adapt your skills, not just into one art style, but in some other art styles, like that.
Hey Martha, thank you for joining me and thank you for agreeing to be interviewed. So I was wondering, to start off with, if you could explain a little bit about who you are, a bit about your journey, and a little bit about your passions as well.
Yeah, cool. Well, thank you so much for having me. I'm really excited about this. A bit about me is that I am a theatre director, producer, and current uni student at the University of Birmingham studying English and drama. And my sort of journey to that was that throughout my whole life, I've absolutely loved drama and art. I'm the oldest of three, so I've always been really bossy as well.
Yeah.
And absolutely loved putting on shows in my living room that everyone would come and see, or I'd make everyone come and see, literally from when I was 5. And then at school, that really thrived, I think, especially in secondary school. And I had a wonderful drama teacher who absolutely, told me, like, you can really do this and you should really put time into this. So when I came to uni, something that I was really, really passionate about getting loads of experience in was directing, because that's something that I'd always been interested in doing, but I'd never had the opportunity to really sort of get in there and actually do it, and I think as a first year uni student, I felt quite intimidated and felt like there was no way I could actually have the opportunity to direct people. But through the Guild of Students, I managed to sort of get my first gig and absolutely loved it, and then directed 2 other things the next term, and then found a group of people to co-found a theatre company at the end of my first year. And from then we took a show up to the Edinburgh Fringe Festival in 2019, and that was sort of my big first thing that I did, that I felt like, okay, this is actually a thing that I can really, really grow and thrive, and it's something that I'm so passionate about that I'd really love to spend loads more time doing that. So for the past sort of year and a half, 2 years almost, I've been really investing any free time I have into the theatre company, and from up to now we've done 3 shows, 1 in Edinburgh and then 2 in Birmingham. And obviously I'll our last show ended the day before lockdown started. So
That's very lucky, like very lucky. Yeah.
So lucky. But you know, since COVID, we've sort of been in this limbo phase that everyone else has been in the arts, and we're right now. Basically, I'm working out what I want to do after I graduate, because I've got one more year, and then you know, who knows? Basically,
Amazing.
That's who I am, and that's where I'm at right now.
No, that's brilliant, and thank you for that. And something that I'd like to circle back on, that really stood out to me, is essentially the perception of what a director is, and how it kind of felt as a young woman who comes into a university full of people that are equally as passionate, and of course, you know, also probably have similar goals. And then, like, how did you manage to step up and be like, yep, I want to be a director, and I'm going to get involved in X, Y, and Z? Like, where did you get that from?
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, I think it really all stems back to the teacher that told me you should be a director. And someone, you know, saying to me, right, this is something you're good at, and this is something that you can do. And I think from that moment, I remember stepping into uni and telling everyone that I wanted to direct. You know, anyone that would listen, anyone that wouldn't listen, basically I said, I want to direct theatre. And from then I connected with someone in the year above me, and he was like, oh, I want to direct something as well. Do you want to co-direct it? And I was like, oh my gosh, yes. And then, so I think it's just having those conversations and really putting it out there to everyone that you want to do this. And the more I said it, the more I believed it myself as well. And once I got that first gig, and once I had that experience under my belt, I felt more confident to go at it myself and to direct something that was just me. And I mean, that doesn't go without saying that every day I like doubt myself, and every time I get into a room I'm like, oh god, you know, how's anyone gonna listen to me, you know, because quite a lot of the time I feel like I shouldn't be listened to. But once you do it, I think it's about getting out of your head really and just actually doing it, which is really hard. But I think the first time, once you've done it once, it feels a lot easier the next time and the next time, basically.
I'm going to ask you a question. I want to know your opinion. So, What does democratising arts and culture mean to you?
Accessibility. That's the first word that comes to my head. I think what I mean by that is, I think if we don't change the massive institutions within our community and our society, there's no way that we can make arts and culture more accessible to everyone, and therefore more democratic. I think that starts perhaps in schools. I think theatre and drama and art and film and anything like that should be available to any kid that wants to do it. And with that, I feel like this sort of new generation of artists will become more democratic and will become more diverse. And sort of going on to that as well, I feel like the change needs to happen in schools, but also the change needs to happen in the massive institutions that run the arts and culture, whether that's the National Theatre or other big institutions that get the most money from the government, basically. And I feel like those are the institutions that need to be doing the real work to hire people that are not the people that are currently in power. And I feel like especially artistic directors need to be diversified a lot more, because those are the people that are making the decisions, basically. And it's all well and good giving people opportunities, giving opportunities to those that don't usually have opportunities. But if the artistic directors and the leaders of the arts and culture are not as diverse, there's no way that, you know, actual change will be made throughout the sort of next 10 years. And I think we're in a really exciting moment within the arts and culture to make that change. And especially as a young person, I'm really passionate about being as accessible as I can to the people around me, and really working against what we're used to at the moment, which is something incredibly hard and something that's tiring as well, but something that definitely needs to happen.
100%, and I love that, because it's like, if you don't essentially change the people who are at the top of the industry, who are the directors, the funders, the artistic directors, then those that are being given the opportunities that may be marginalised or actually are the people that really need it, hit a glass ceiling. Like, they'll get to a semi-senior position, and then from there be left with the option of, well, I can either stay in this position and again not see change happen in the full way in which I want it to happen, or I have to then think about going away and starting my own movement, starting my own collective, you know, then reapplying for funding with the people that actually again aren't representing, you know, the whole community, aren't representing our cities, our families, our friends, and it's a really difficult kind of position for a lot of people to be in within the sector.
100%. And I also think, you know, there's such a difference, for example, in for example, giving someone with a hidden disability funding, or changing the person in power to someone with a hidden disability. Because I feel like if there isn't someone in power that has a hidden disability, there's no way our industry can become more accessible, because the people in power don't know what it's like, don't know the you know, the everyday struggles that people with a hidden disability go through. And I feel like those are the sort of changes that will really create that wave of change and will be able to democratise arts and culture.